Hello, I'm Dr. Dennis McKenna. Welcome to another edition of Inside Albany Med. And today I'm so pleased to be joined by Mr. Dwayne Beckford. Dwayne, great to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure for me to be able to sit down with you today.
The pleasure is all mine, sir. All right, so you are Epic. Well, you're Epic, right? Yeah. But you are an Epic Analyst 3.
Correct.
So let's start there. What does that mean? What do you do today?
So right now, I'm on the Kogoro and data analytics team.
Okay.
My primary responsibility now is to work with the professional billing. So I do a lot of finance reporting. So I basically got to go in the system and figure out how the charges match to the payments, adjustments, like the undistributes.
Yep.
So one of the big things I'm working out is trying to figure out how to undistribute dollars tie out to some of the campuses.
So for the viewers and even for myself, to try to break that down a little bit, we have systems. We have our new electronic medical record, Epic.
Correct.
That does clinical care. It also does revenue. It does revenue cycle. There's a lot of data fields, probably tens of thousands of different data fields. Kogoro is a way in which we take all those data fields and put them in a way where people can make decisions
Correct.
about that. And that's what we call data science.
Yes.
And you're like a data scientist. You and people like Mike Hauk and your team do that. But you don't just wake up one day and become an Epic Analyst 3. Like, there's a lot of training and studying and certifications you need to do in order to become Epic Analyst 3. So talk about how you got there.
So number one, was fortunate to be chosen as one of the individuals who were able to fly out to Wisconsin.
Okay.
By the way, great facility.
Excellent.
We had a great time
That's
around
the headquarters for Epic?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it was a great time. So we had to take a series of tests.
Right.
So you take first, we had 2 preliminary tests we had to take.
Right.
Which were just to understand if you can do like SQL code.
Right.
Then we had to take, I think it was a Kogoro fundamentals class where it kind of lets you understand how to operate the front ends.
Right.
Creating reports. Then we had to take 2 for the data science pieces were like Kogoro, Kabuto, and Clarity.
Those are a lot of different programs.
Yeah, those are the databases that you have to interact with Epic.
And I think it should be said that, from my understanding, this is the type of material and testing that not everybody can get through. Like, in other words, this is difficult work, but you made it from Epic to Epic 1, and 2 to 3.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Now,
I can give you a little insight on how some of those tests. So the way we, as a group, there was a couple guys on the team where we spent hours just reading material after we take the class.
Right.
We were just going back and forth. They're like, okay, I read this chapter. What did you understand?
Right.
And then we just quiz each other.
That's great.
So then
working together.
Correct.
Good for you. You've been here, I think you're coming on your 21st year. You started here in 2004.
Correct.
What was your first job here at Albany Med?
So my first job was at Help Desk.
Help Desk. All right, so that would be 25000.
Yeah.
I'm locked out of my computer.
Yep, I was one of those ones you call up.
I probably called you a lot. I'm not afraid to admit I've been locked out a couple times in the past. But so that's one position. But I think you've moved through a series of positions since you got here.
So from Help Desk, I went to Desktop Support.
Desktop to Support.
Which is now End Use.
That means that's somebody who comes into the office perhaps and works on your software and making sure you have the programs. So you're actually working on the laptops or the desktop computers?
Anything wrong with your computer, come around and fix it.
Okay.
But when I first got that job, even let me back up to the Help Desk, I couldn't believe I was getting paid to do this stuff.
Have you always been a techie?
Yes, since I was younger, I was always as intrigued about computers.
Okay.
But it was just so much fun. The group of guys I got to work with.
Right.
I'm like, I'm getting paid to do this?
Yes.
It was just so much fun. And the best thing I like about it, people ask me, why am I here?
Yes, I was going to ask you that. So tell me, why are you here?
It's the people.
Okay.
I'm a big family person.
Right.
Growing up, I was one of 6.
Okay.
And I'm the oldest of 6. So my mother always preached family. Like, my parents are from Jamaica.
Okay.
And they migrated to Canada. So I grew up in Toronto.
You grew up in Toronto.
And it was just family. Like, I come from humble beginnings, but you didn't understand they were humble. Because I never needed nothing.
Yeah. Well, you had family.
Yes.
Which is important.
And that's priceless.
It is. I want to go back to that in a second, but let's finish the journey. So Help Desk to Desktop Support, End Use Support, then something else, or?
Clinical systems.
Clinical systems.
So being able to, like when I'm walking around fixing people's
Right.
computers, like I said, the family piece of it,
Right.
people were like, I think you would be good in this role.
Right.
So then I applied for a clinical systems job,
Okay.
and I was in that role until we went to Epic.
That's incredible. So each step along the way, new opportunities opened up. You challenged yourself, learned new things, got new responsibilities. One question I always like to ask tech people: are you a Mac or a PC guy?
PC.
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
I-
because I know some people are like, they got to be a Mac or they've got to be a PC. Yeah.
PC all the way. I feel like I can do more with PC
Okay.
than I can do with Mac.
Are you a gamer, or do you like to what do you like to do on your computers at home?
I play a little bit of games.
Right.
I mean, not as much now.
Right.
Back then, I used to play a lot more
Right. Now there is a game you did used to play.
basketball.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that. That's what brought you to this
right,
area.
yeah. I was fortunate to get a scholarship. I can back up. So I went to a tournament in Niagara,
Okay. This is
Where-
when you were like in high school.
high school,
Okay.
and one of the assistant coaches at the time seen me play in Niagara, and offered me a scholarship to come to St. Rose.
St. Rose, which, as we know, had a great basketball program.
They were
And,
awesome.
yeah. In fact, it was common that they would go deep into their own conference championships and national championships. And what position did you play?
I mean, it doesn't look like it now, but I was a two guard, which
You were two guard.
yeah,
So shooting
Shooting
guard.
guard, yeah.
Yeah. You could put the ball up.
yep.
And you got a great education at St. Rose.
Yes,
And then you stayed. Was Albany Med the first place you worked at out of college, or did
That's
you?
the only place.
The only place. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
And I mean, to me, it's been great.
Right.
The people here are great. Co-workers are great.
Yeah.
It's a great
for
time.
sure. And sticking on the theme of family, I think you're still involved in basketball, and you're finding ways to give back.
Correct.
You mentioned when we were chatting earlier that there were people who were important to you, mentors. You mentioned your mother, of course, and the close-knit family. You also find a way now to give back, whether it be your love of basketball. Talk about that.
So I had two gentlemen. Besides let me back up. My mother was the main focal
course,
point.
yeah.
She just taught me, like, okay, these are the most important. You're only 16, 17 once in your life. You got to take care of what's most important. And at that time was school and my sports. I didn't know when I was playing. I just played for the love of the game.
Right.
I didn't know I was going to get a scholarship. I just wanted to just play and have fun with my friends. Opportunity came. I got the scholarship. But the two gentlemen were just, I can't thank them enough. Time is something that you can't
Can't get it back.
give back. And they invested so much time in me. I'm not sitting here with you today without these people.
That's nice to hear.
And it's just amazing. So I sat down with them probably a few years ago, a little while ago, and I said, how can I repay you? Because I can't give you back time. They just said, pay it forward. And I've been trying to do that ever since. So I've been, I'm a volunteer assistant coach at Albany High.
Nice.
I'm one of the varsity basketball coaches.
Right.
And I just love it. So
So you honor them by doing for these young men what they did for you.
correct.
Yeah. The Falcons,
Yes.
Albany High. They're a good team.
Yeah, 3 years ago was one of our best years. We
Good.
finished runners up to.
You still get on the court and play with them, or
I got hurt one time. So I was
you
just
may
like-
not want to do it. We get Wayne. You cannot get injured.
No,
Who's your favorite pro team, by the way?
the Raptors.
Of course. That makes sense. That makes sense.
My runner-up was Cleveland,
Okay.
but
Yeah, because you're geographically close
Yeah.
to Cleveland as well. That's all. All right, so let's take it back inside Albany Med. So you're here now. You're an Epic Analyst 3. Talk about what a day looks like for you here when you're at Albany Med today.
today, so right now, it's we start off with meetings with Mike and our group.
Mike Hauk.
Mike
right?
Halk and our
Right.
group. We just discuss any items for follow-up,
Right.
what our day looks like. I spend a lot of time now just in the trenches with the finance reports.
Right.
I mean, I've got used to being uncomfortable, and I just love learning new stuff. And I've been able to build a lot of relations with the finance folks to kind of help me, to help them to get our jobs done.
I'm sure it occurs to you, but it bears saying out loud. What you and your team do sometimes is work that may occur behind the scenes,
Correct.
as it were. But it is so important, right? Because we're an organization that, obviously has a significant amount of financial reports that we use to make decisions about where we're going to invest in new resources, how we're going to spend our money on capital, how we're going to build our budget. we can't do that unless we have the data in a way that is understandable and use that slicer dicer
Yeah.
and be able to pull out reports. So I hope you and your team appreciate the fact that the work that you do is incredibly important to us.
All right, thank you. And I mean, the biggest part of me is the satisfaction that once you help someone get to the data that they need,
Right.
or you provide a report in
Right.
an easy, readable
Right.
format, I think that's the best satisfaction you can get when you're like, they're happy with
That's
what
right.
you're delivering for them.
I'm a very data-driven person, always have been, and working on whether it be length of stay projects or quality projects or other things. And for me, when I kind of sit down and I describe to someone like a Mike Hauk or maybe now to a Dwayne, hey, here's what I want, and then they go off and study it, and then they come back through your training and say, here's what I heard you say, how's this look? Sometimes we got to tweak a little bit, but that's a fun process,
That is.
right? And then
Yeah.
we're like, okay, now we got something we can go use.
Correct. I actually, funny, I did that with Kelly Evans recently.
Okay.
She came to me and she needed something for work use.
Right.
But the work queues were only summing up the charges
Right.
at a level. She wanted line level. Able to deliver that with her in a couple hours, and she was super happy. Like you said before, but you go back and you make tweaks
Right.
just to get it right.
Well, thank you. If you could talk to anybody today, first day at Albany Med, maybe they're working in the help desk, maybe they're working some other job, what would your advice be to them for the career that they think they have or they want to have here at Albany Med?
I would just say to be open-minded, because I can't believe 21 years have gone by so fast.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunities here.
Right.
My biggest thing, I think you'd have to build relationships with people.
Right.
Get to know people,
Right.
because I think that opens up a lot of doors for you here.
Well, you're a great example of that, and I, for one, appreciate it. I thank you and your team, and I really appreciate you telling us your story. I think it's a great one, and it's one that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy hearing. So thank you, Dwayne.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being here. Thank you. I mean, like, there's other stuff too I want to tell you. That even
Please.
like some of our management, they have such an open door policy, which is easy for me to speak to them. Like Scott Van Zickel, I can talk to him about almost anything. I mean, I talked to Jason George about fly fishing.
Right.
You know.
Well, you just named two of the extraordinary leaders we have here
Okay.
at Albany Med. Scott is fantastic. Of course, Jason is fantastic. Having that type of relationship where you can come into your their offices and say, "Hey, I got a problem." I mean, that's really. I think they will probably appreciate you saying that. And I guess in return, that's probably how you deal with other people who want to come in and talk to you.
Yeah. I just love it. I mean, how do you say? Because like the way I was brought up is about you treat people with respect and kindness,
Right.
and in turn you will get that same type of treatment back.
Do you mind if I ask what was your mother's name? What's your mother's name?
Elita Blackwood.
No. She got to be very proud of you.
Oh, I know.
She instilled in you, I think, a lot of qualities that we're benefiting from
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, she's awesome. I mean, a lot of people don't. I mean, being a single mother and you don't realize what she's doing. She was strict, but she was like almost just. At the time, you don't realize what she's doing until you get older. You're like, you did this because of this reason.
Yes. Tough love.
Yes, exactly, exactly. It pays off today.
It did. It did indeed. You came in at the help desk. You moved to desktop support, clinical
Clinical systems.
systems, Epic 3, Epic Analyst 3. Talk about what did you learn when you were working at the help desk or those other jobs that makes you more successful in what you currently do today?
You understand how the organization works.
Oh, okay.
You understand who you need to go to get certain items done.
Right.
Like for instance, if I need to get put in a SART,
Right.
to have somebody create, for instance, sometimes you got to drop a report into a folder.
Right.
I know where to go to.
Okay.
So in my new role now, if I need to have an account provisioned, account created, since I've been here from the help desk to desktop, I know who I need to go to, which then helps me to speed the whole process up.
So kind of like if you're a basketball coach, you can't run the triangle offense day one, right?
Exactly.
People got to know where they've got to be on the
Yeah.
court, some basic fundamentals before you start doing the work you're doing now. So every step along the way, you learn new skills about how Albany Med works, how the system works, to allow you to do the work that you do today.
Correct. And then in that term, I'm still building relationships. So
You're still building relationships. The work's never done.
exactly. And then if you're, for instance, you're a manager of like client server,
Right.
I've known you since I've been here, so I
Right.
can call you up sometimes like, can you do me a favor?
Right.
And they're
So you make a really good point, and that is this, which is relationships matter, right?
Yeah.
Spending that time with individuals in the long run, that's how people ultimately build trust, and that's how they ultimately are able to accomplish those really good working relationships. Now, we have something else in common. Double H Ranch.
That place is amazing.
Now that, for those that don't know, it's a camp up in the Adirondacks for children between the ages of 6 and 16. Children who go there have a medical condition that qualifies them to go to camp, sickle cell, cancer, they might be in a wheelchair, ventilator. The medical team, often at Albany Med, will provide that support so that parents feel safe dropping them off. We've been doing that for 30 years,
Wow, I
right?
didn't know
30
that.
years. Tell me what your involvement is up there.
I've been fortunate to volunteer for the past 3 years.
Wonderful.
The first time I went 3 years ago, I didn't know what
You're
it was.
like, what is this place?
Yeah, and then just hearing the stories of the camps, and I think one of the two things that touched me was you have that adapted ski.
That's right. It's the only adaptive ski course really in the area for camps. Yes,
And the fact that somebody blind can ski,
that's right.
that was like, to me, was like, wow.
And they ski with their families, right? And they have instructors going down the courses with them.
And then you have that zip line.
That's right, the zip line.
I'm just like, yeah. Then this year I seen that you put in that adapted swings.
The adaptive swing. So if a child's in a wheelchair, for example, many of those children never get a chance to be on a swing. So they built an adaptive playground that includes a swing for children who are in a wheelchair. Listen, I could spend hours talking about all the incredible people at Albany Med who help make that happen. I'll just take this opportunity, since you mentioned the zip line, to talk about a dear friend of ours, Dr. Ray Walsh, who passed last year. But he was one of the individuals who helped create that magic, especially when it came to children who were on ventilators and figuring out a way to get them up into the canopies and on the zip line. So thank you. I think, my wife and I are medical volunteers up there. My children are volunteers up there. So you are as well. I think hundreds of people from Albany Med spend time up there. You're making a difference in the lives of those children up there. It's another example of why I think the people who work at Albany Med are special people. They want to care for people that come in here, but they also want to care for their communities.
I agree.
So it sounds like another thing that you learned from your family. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great. I appreciate what you do there. It's really good.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
All right, thank you.